You alright guys, welcome to the very first episode of the Derby Career Mode Live over on my new gaming channel. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this series. I'll try and be as consistent as possible. I want to really do this career mode well, and that's why we've waited a few days, because we've had to wait for this squad update for Ryan Nyambe to be added in. He hasn't got a face on the picture, of course, but obviously in game he'll be fine and all that good stuff. So this is as long as I want to wait. But yeah, I wanted to wait just so we had the entire squad, because it is actually very interesting. I have put together this starting 11, which has Jake Rooney in there, Thompson in the midfield, Barkhausen on the left. You know, some things that aren't fully happening in real life. Obviously, Thompson's injured, but when he's back, I'm sure he'll be back in the team. But yeah, I think this is the team, in my opinion, in terms of the longevity of the career mode, is where you want to develop things, especially this back kind of three, definitely. Maybe left back needs to be looked at, but yeah, Rooney, Wilson and Cashin, Bird, Thompson, are all players that I kind of want to grow throughout this career mode. And, you know, when we get to the Premier League in about 3 seasons' time, maybe 4, depending on how well I do, that's where we'll get to. But yeah, basically, I've not really done much on the career mode other than extending contracts. We've given massive contracts to Cashin, Thompson, Sibley, Bird, Rooney, basically anyone who had like a year left on that contract, because I just didn't want them to leave the club on a free. So all in all, what we'll probably do in this episode is look at doing pre-season, seeing how the squad does and whatnot, and seeing who's good. And I have added a few players to the shortlist as options that we could bring in on either free transfers or very little amount of money, maybe a loan, that kind of thing. You know, we don't really want to be signing too much, if anything, in this first window. To be honest, a little part of me wants to just kind of stick with the squad that we have, because we have got plenty of players. But I do want to add Michael Smith as one of the players, because he obviously was linked in real life. I kind of like to make the career modes as authentic as possible. I don't want to be doing things that are unrealistic, you know, like signing something like Joe Bellingham to this career mode, something like that, where he's not going to drop down a league to play for Derby. So yeah, I try and keep it as authentic as possible. But yeah, let me know any signs that you do want to see in the career mode. Of course, I will show the transfer hub. I always forget where all these things are, but we've got Kiefer Moore, who probably is a little bit unrealistic, to be honest, because he's in a Premier League team at the minute. Realistically, he's not going to want to drop down to League One, so that's probably out of my budget, but maybe next season if we get promoted. There is Steve Mooney, former Huddersfield striker, big 6'3". He might be potentially moving to Luton, which is a bit strange. I'm not too sure why that's happening, but yeah, Michael Smith is probably about the level that we're at. Like, I want players that are kind of linked in real life. Scott Carson might be there just because his contract's expiring at the end of the season, so might bring him as a backup goalie. Or first team goalie, to be honest. But yeah, Michael Johnston is a very good free agent for anyone on a career mode, starting with Derby. Very good pace, agility and balance. Obviously, former Celtic player. Can play on either wing, but whether we get him right now, I think we'll wait for now, because we've got more than enough players in the club to fulfill the squad that we need. And I've gone for a 4-3-3 because I feel that's probably the best. I might be tempted to go to a 4-2-3-1 eventually. But, you know, we're starting off. We might as well do what we got and go into the first game against Rotherham.
Their first pre-season game. Time for players to get their match fitness, coaches to develop tactics, new signings to be in. And it goes!
Well, that's pre-season off to a great start. Right, we don't need to talk about what happened in that first pre-season game. Do you have a transfer here from Leeds United? Ooh, what should we do here? I think we just block all offers. Just don't even... I should have rejected it and then blocked it. But I think, to be honest, one area that I'll probably look at is a winger. So I've got Corey Blackett and Johnston at the minute. If you guys want to suggest some more players, obviously that'll help out with signings. But I think that's probably the area we need to concentrate, especially the left wing. I think that's the place where we've got Barkhausen, but other than that, there's not really anyone. We could obviously put Sibley there and whatnot, but yeah, we'll make a few changes to this final pre-season game. I'm not that bothered about pre-season. It's more just to make sure everyone gets some minutes. Cool, there we go. We do actually win the final game against Andorra. Technically a country. Transfer for Corey Smith of Coventry. It's interesting that like they're all teams above us that seem to be going for our players. So clearly we've got some good players in the team. Yeah, going to the Bolton game, we have just got the scout report back for Blackett Taylor, and that's kind of the level I want us to be going for if we're going to be signing players. You know, like 68, 72 is probably the absolute highest I'd sign a player in this first season for the first team kind of thing, because that's like 2 ratings higher than our best player at the club, just to keep it as realistic as possible. So yeah, let me know if I should get Blackett Taylor. He was linked in real life. Yeah, we're going to go into this Bolton game. I don't know how the fitness is 100%. There is a new, like, you can basically do training before you start kind of thing, but going to have to drop Rooney. Nyambe can play centre-back as one of the options, so I'm tempted to do that and see how that does. And then we've got a pacey centre-back with Cash in, obviously. Or we can obviously just put Nelson in, who's better, only one better defensively, but much better physically, and quite a lot taller. But, well, it's only like a couple of inches. It's not that much of a difference. We've not even started our first game of the season, and Waghorn is already going down in stats. So I think long-term in terms of a striker, like we've got very old strikers at the club, all over 31, and John Jules is only 22. So maybe looking at developing him because he's only a couple of ratings behind, like the power curve at the minute. Obviously, Loach and Forsyth also going down in stats. But yeah, that's part of it. Obviously, we have to get rid of the old and bring in the new. I don't quite get how there's highlights of the game before the game's even kicked off. It's like it's almost scripted. But yeah, first game of the season against Bolton. Very good test indeed. Obviously, one of the better, you know, one of the top 4 teams in League One. Just realised how loud the commentators are. Something like that should be good. But let me know if the audios do need changing for the next video. But better to keep them lower than higher for the time being. I knew that would happen. I just knew he'd somehow put it into the top left-hand corner, top right-hand corner, to kick off the career mode. It always happens. I always can't defend at the start of the game. Maybe could have done a bit better with Nyambe there, but obviously it's a bit of a learning curve with the new game. But yeah, not the start we were looking for. Oh, block there. That's what I want from Nyambe, is getting in front of the shots. The height isn't too much of an issue because we've got Cash in to win the headers. Go on. Go on through. Oh, of course it has to be one of the slowest players that we have at the club. But he has got through here with Conor Hourihane with the shot, and the first goal for the club, for the captain, is Conor Hourihane. And he's an interesting one because he's one of the better players, obviously, at the club. But with him being over 31, I want to say, long-term wise, you're looking at 1, maybe 2 seasons with him, which is the sad reality of probably in real life as well. But on his weaker foot, does get the first goal for the club. The first of many. Inception there. Go on, Mendes. Against Jones. Has he got the pace? Yeah, that's what I love about Mendes. He just does that in real life and in the game. That's a great goal. The defending is just like... I think that is an issue with playing on Legendary. You know, the way it turns there and everything. Not much you can do, but obviously eventually we'll get to a point where we know what we're doing. Oh, Dion Charles is actually quite decent. Which is concerning in League One, but there's just not much you can do when you're playing on this difficult, to be frank. So that's the end of the first half. We at least scored a goal. But I must say, Bolton are probably one of the tougher teams. Like, you're going to put Bolton in that top 4 kind of bracket. So I don't mind if we lose this first game of the season. Obviously, we lost in real life 2-1. So as long as we're not getting absolutely smashed in the game, that's the kind of worry. We're making it so difficult so early, but we should be all right.
No panic, just passing.
See, I just don't know what to do in that situation. Do I press or do I not press? And it seems like I can't do anything at all at the minute. Maybe we need Nelson in the defence. Maybe it's a bit of a crazy thing to put technically a right back at centre back, even though he can do it. for the time being. But yeah, let me know how you guys are finding defending. I'm going to make some substitutions, though. Up top, I think. We'll get Fauna in the midfield. Maybe that extra bit of defensive aspect will help out in that department. And I'll also try Ward on the right, because Mendes Lang's a little bit low on fitness, obviously. Out on international duty with Guatemala. See, in those situations, Niambe is really helpful because he can track back, whereas if you had a Nelson, their player probably just gets through. Oh. It's not going well, that's for sure. I don't know if... I just don't know if that's the problem. I don't know what I need to do to not concede 5 goals. Obviously, we'll look at potentially bringing in Nelson. But it might just be this game, like, you know, Bolton are a good team. I mean, like, what do you want me to do? You know? 6-1. I don't think I've ever started a career mode this badly. I think I've lost my touch. Usually I'm incredible. But then again, the squad is probably the weakest it's ever been. In terms of the actual players that we have in the squad. I don't think I've ever started with like 170 rated and the rest below 70. So that's an aspect. That is the worst start I've ever had to a career mode. 6-1. Hat-trick for Dion Charles. 4 goals, actually. More than a hat-trick. Well, the more concerned... I'm not really that bothered about the league. It does put us bottom of the table by quite a mile to start the season off, which is very nice. But the more concerning thing is the Papa John's Trophy, the EFL Trophy. Our group has Blackpool and Bolton. We have 2 games. There's usually 4 teams in this group. Obviously, there's no under-21 teams on FIFA. But we literally have one of the toughest groups. Like, we don't have a single League 2 team. We have both League 1 teams. One's been relegated from Championship this season. Well, last season, you know what I mean. And Bolton, who just beat us 6-1. So we literally have the toughest group. And it's literally our probably only chance of winning the Papa John's in this career mode. Because in my head, well, I want us to get promoted. You know, you kind of have to start from the bottom now. But honestly, I don't know what the issue... I don't know if maybe playing Niambe is a little bit crazy at centre-back, and we need to probably just kind of go with, for now anyway, go with a Bradley or a Nelson just to get some stability, because 6-1's a little bit concerning. But yeah, let me know how we should go forwards, that's for sure. I do play... Let me show you the... what is it called? The new thing. Team strategy, that's it. We are playing wing play. There's standard wing play, tiki-taka, Gungan press, part of the bus, counter-attack, and kick and rush. We'll stick with the wing play for now, because I've got the coaches that suit that kind of thing. And we kind of play wing play in real life anyway. We just cross the ball into the box. So maybe looking at getting a Michael Smith, maybe a Kiefer Moore, probably more likely next season, though, for Kiefer Moore, to be that target man. Maybe James Collins, you know, the man who scored 2 goals against Carlisle, is who should be starting. Yeah, let me know in the comment section down below how you guys are enjoying career mode and any signs that you want to see on the series. I'll try and do this daily, at least for the next week or so. Obviously, we've had to wait a few days for the squad update for Niambe, but here he is now, and we can get a move on with the career mode. At least we can remember we started with 6-1 loss, and, you know, when we win the Champions League and the Premier League in 4 or 5, 6 years' time, we'll look back and laugh. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the first episode. Drop a like if you did, and we'll catch you all next time.